when metronomes don't happen, children's die.
Children's die.
Sometimes.
Horrible.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Tilted Pod. I'm your host, Seth. Don't call me Jack Wilds, and I'm here with the Daywalker, Nathan Morris. What is up, my man?
Yo.
What's
up?
And a bottle of rum. Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum. We're not drinking rum today in the studio. We are drinking Monster and aloe vera juice is what I'm having. Oh. How about you? What do you got in there in that Yeti?
Monster.
Oh, nice. The Monster Yeti. That's what we're doing. We'd like to start this show off every week with just a little bit of what we've been doing. So I want to let my man Nate break down what he's been playing.
Well, we had a fun weekend. It was a fun weekend.
Fun indeed.
And we played a lot of Modern.
I would just let you know now, listeners, this is going to be a Modern packed episode.
It sure is. Yeah, it was super fun time. Played a lot of Sun and Moon. Against everybody's wishes, probably even my own wishes. I'm not even sure, but that's what I was playing. Got a little standard testing in before the weekend started, just to keep fresh. But yeah, it was fun.
You're playing Sun and Moon at the PPTQ that we went to. That we're gonna break down even more in our tournament results section. But yeah. So. Everybody on the team, we have 4 people go, and we all said, you know what, dude? You keep saying you're going to stop playing this deck, and every week he keeps playing this deck, and every week he keeps feeling awful for it. Yeah, we all went, man. So you play any Magic Online, though?
I did. I played a little standard.
Little standard?
Little standard.
Yeah.
I play tested a little bit of the Modern Sultai deck. Yeah, just straight down. Standard.
Yeah.
The Modern Sultai deck, I play tested a little bit with it online. Still don't quite have the hang of it. Don't know if I like all my numbers yet, but we're working on it. We're getting there.
On Sultai, but I thought we were going Jeskai.
We are
buddy.
going Jeskai. That's my paper deck. I will have it ready for the next tournament.
I'm excited for you, man. No FNMs this week or anything?
No FNMs this week.
Cool. Same here. So my weekend Magic, I played a PPTQ with him. The team went out. The Tilted Pod team. If we saw you there, it was a pleasure getting to go there. Again, we'll get deeper into the tournament later on in the episode, but I played some bushwhacking, and that was fun, man. I love that deck. I don't think it was the correct choice this weekend, but I also got gung-ho and decided that I'm learning Affinity again. Like, I used to play Affinity, but I'm going to learn this deck again. Now, I think it's the worst time to pick it up because by this time, everybody finally is packing hate for it. As we get into results, we'll see.
Yeah.
But I want to know the deck. I want to be able to take that deck, and the weekends it is good. I just want to be able to smash face, and I want to make sure that, because I think to really have a lot of success with the deck, you need to know it in and out. It's one of those decks that the ceiling on it's so high and rewards you so much for knowing the deck.
Yeah.
Now, the cool thing is you don't have to be that good with it, and you can still get some free wins by just cranial plating up a,
That's champion?
Yeah, and just smashing.
Yep.
But other than that, what else did I do? I did a little bit of trading on MTGO. I tried to buy into a couple more decks, but they're not quite there yet. And just a lot of research and news, man. Getting ready for this podcast. Getting ready for talking with you, my man. Talking Magic.
What are we talking about?
Magic. We're talking about Magic, guys. So that was what we did this weekend and what we've been slinging. In this next segment, we're going to break down the news. Here we go. Welcome back, my little pigeons. News. Let's talk it. Nate, what's going on with this GP schedule? What's going on with the extended events? The streams, the expanded coverage more, not extended events. What do you know about this?
I know that they're expanding, for sure. And so it's definitely going to be, we'll say, bigger and a better experience. Quote, unquote, maybe. So we'll see.
Quote, unquote, maybe.
Yeah. Let's break it down, and then we can maybe decide on it.
Okay.
So they're saying this year they're going to have at least 40 Magic events streamed.
Now, that is up from last year in 2016, there was only 22.
There's only 22.
So 40, that's positive.
That is a positive number.
I'm excited
and
about
so They're going to break that down into 4 Pro Tours,
Sweet.
the Magic World Championship,
Sweet.
the Magic World Cup, 32 Grand Prix, the Magic Online Championship, and Super Sunday Series Championship.
I will say that sounds like a lot of GPs.
That's a lot of GPs.
32 GPs. I remember like last year we thought all of a sudden it felt like we're never getting coverage of events. I felt like for a long time we just weren't getting coverage. You couldn't actually watch it. It used to be like whenever the Open Series was like, also, I know this is different. This is Wizards versus SCG, but both of them kind of stopped streaming events for a while. And I remember though, like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, before this switch was like going through, you could watch like a GP, 2 opens. You know, you have the double open weekend, so you'd be like watching Standard, then watching Legacy, then watching Modern or whatever, and it was just like so much Magic content, constantly high level tournaments. Then it was like nothing.
Yeah,
nothing for a little bit.
It went to like the black hole of content. Everybody was so mad about that. All we were getting were very select few events that we actually got streaming coverage. And I think it almost caused a couple riots. People were mad. Upset. I mean, when you go from full throttle to barely anything, you know, everybody's has the right to be upset, really.
So then in this last year, Wizards has teamed up with Twitch. Mm-hmm. They've done an official stream partnership, right? So no more like streaming on YouTube games or anything like that.
Yep.
It's Twitch is the official, you know, Magic partner.
Yeah.
And also, didn't they give all the GPs to Channel Fireball?
Channel Fireball now has every GP.
So, I think that might mean there's a lot of good things coming from that. It seems like the change in 22 streamed events to 40 and the fact that Channel Fireball, like the coverage teams might be better and everything like that. What do you think? Do you think it's good now that we've done this partnership, or Wizards has, and that CFB is running everything?
Well, I know it's unfair to compare SEG to CFB because they're both great companies and they both do great things, but Star City has it pretty much nailed down right now. They have the coverage nailed down. They're professional at everything they do. They just have everything so solid in how they do things that I'm afraid that people might compare that to what Channel Fireball is going to try and do in their coverage of the GPs. I know that it takes time for a company to get down the organizational aspect of it and to, you know, understand the flow of the games as far as doing coverage and getting the right personalities up there doing the coverage even. I mean, it's really hard to beat Cedric Phillips and not P. Sully, but the other guy now.
The other guy, Craig Krimples. They got so many rotating at SCG right now,
but those two are pretty much the top of the line. They're their main event, you know, commentaries, and it's just, you know, I hope that the comparison doesn't happen from SCG to Channel Fireball, because I think Channel Fireball is going to give us something new and exciting as far as coverage, because they just don't want to do the same thing.
Well, I will say this. The coverage team, Ced Phillips is great at what he does. He's a great analyzer, commentator, but Paul Cheon did a great job at the Pro Tour, and he's going to start doing GPs, I think. Plus, you've got LSV, who I don't know how much he's going to actually commentate and not on Pro Tour, but if he starts coming around, I mean, it's LS freaking V. I mean, that's great.
You can't deny that.
And then you also have Marshall Sutcliffe, you know, limited resources master, and he's a great commentator as well.
And all those people do things kind of like in solo aspects or with other people, but it's now they have to be partnered with each other.
Right.
And so hopefully the chemistry's there between them to kind of make this great coverage.
Yeah, I definitely think I understand what you're saying for sure about Star City has like developed this formula and they follow it, and it came through trial and error, but they have a pretty tight ship. Where now CFB is going to have to be taking over, and I think they're doing a good job, though. It looks like it's getting better and better, and I can't wait to see how much better the production side is going to get as it goes on. The other thing that just launched is Wizards. Now you can sub to them on Twitch. That just went live, and it comes with launch emotes. Hey, how many people do you sub to on Twitch, Nate?
I subbed to about 3 people.
3 people? So could somebody break down subs to me? Explain to me like what it... I know for a lot of you, you're like, shut up, that's dumb. But I don't really understand. So you pay like $4.99 a month or...
I do, yeah.
So is that the cheapest sub you can have? Can people pay like $1 a month or just like...
No, I think you can pretty much sub whatever you want. But I think to really get the full benefits of what a lot of programs do. It's mainly $4.99.
Okay, so what is becoming a sub? What does that do? Is it just you like showing support to somebody you like, or do you actually get benefits from?
It's both. You know what I mean? I subbed to Jeff Hooglin. I like a lot of his content. I know a lot of people rag on Jeff a lot for some of the stuff that he's done in the past or whatever.
You mean old crotchety grumpy man?
Yeah, he's a little grumpy sometimes, but he does know his magic. He understands how cards work together with each other. There's no denying that, but sometimes his personality isn't what everybody's favorite. So I subbed to him to support him with no real benefit to it, but I also subbed to SCG. And so sometimes when the Twitch chat gets a little rambunctious and they shut down all the comments, people who are subbing to SCG can still comment.
Oh, really? Okay, I see.
And then, of course, you get special emotes for, subbing and stuff like that. Like, there's small fringe benefits, we'll say, to subbing.
Here's what I don't understand, the emote thing. So if you sub to Wizards starting out now, you have launch emotes. We got, like, Liliana being like, hi, how you doing?
Indian Liliana.
We got Cool Homunculus. Lost and Afraid. I can't remember what card this is from, but this is the only cool one. I would want this, maybe the very last one too. We got Braids, the Cabal chick or whatever. Everyone knows that card. Well, who is this? Is this Gideon? Is this like Weird Art Gideon?
I don't know. Chandra's dad. It's hard to tell who that is.
Oh, it could be. Yeah, maybe Chandra's dad. Then we got this. I don't know. None of these emotes are that great. This is probably not great audio coverage as we're describing these.
Mummy picking its nose and blue flatfish.
Blue fat fish is pretty tight though.
Yeah.
That might be my next tattoo. Just my whole right belly, just a face.
I think you could pull it off.
I think I could.
Just start wearing belly shirts, show that off.
Yeah, man. Go to football practice like that. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I couldn't do football practice anymore because then I'd be a weirdo creeper that is just showing up at people's football practice.
Nothing wrong with that.
So we have all this information. We're going to put that in our show notes so you can check it out. Don't do it while you're driving if you're listening to this on your phone. But other than that, we're gonna leave that there for you guys. But I think overall it's going to be a good thing. Maybe I will sub for Wizards and help them support. Maybe some of that money will go to better production value, and that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean it's all helpful. You know what I mean? Like every dollar counts somewhere, and so that's always been my philosophy to it. I spend about $15 a month in Twitch subs, just trying to support the game that I love while also buying the pieces of cardboard for hundreds of dollars.
You definitely sub to Todd Stevens, don't you?
I absolutely do.
Yeah, I figured that was the third one.
I left that out there just so you wouldn't
I
make
figured
fun.
that was the third one. The complete streaming schedule is going to be online at Wizards. That's the link that we're leaving. And then let's move on because guess what, man? I think it's time. I think it's really time to get there. We got to talk our tournament breakdown. This is our ultimate modern extravaganza because we got so many results to go over, so many deck lists.
It's a lot.
And this is what you come here for. We are the deck list. We are the results team, okay? We're the guys who talk about results. And the first tournament I want to talk about, and I hope you were there because I was, is the PPTQ we attended.
Listen, it was great.
Yeah, we got to bring this up. We got to talk.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into the SCG results and everything after that. But we got to talk about this PPTQ. We got to talk about what we played and what we played against and what we think. I haven't been able to find the results, but what we think in it. So, spoiler alert, we did not top 8. But this is what the top 8 got, guys. This is a PPTQ. First place got an RPTQ invite, obviously, and 500 cash. This tournament, mind you, was only $20, $19 if you pre-regged, and it was 29 day of, but there was nobody getting in day of. It booked right out. I mean, it capped really fast. There were 85 people, and the store is run by this guy named Bryce. He is super professional. Mm-hmm. This dude runs a great, tight ship. You know, he's really nice, remembers everybody's name, like everyone's.
Yeah.
And just has a lot of fun. You know, the store is outgrowing the size of it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It's definitely having size. It's like that awkward teenager that's like hit its growth spurt and it just can't walk right exactly. Yeah. But the people are just awesome too. Everybody I talked to was really nice, and he was great.
Well, I think that he is a player's person. And so
He's all about the player.
Everything he did was all about the player. Like, listen, guys, he had a very cool introduction speech right at the beginning, and he said that, you know, as a player, what he would want is free drinks, sweet prizes, and, you know, an awesome place to play. And he's really following through on that. If you're at the tournament, obviously, you know, we had free drinks the whole day. He bought 80 drinks from a restaurant, free refills all day. The prize pool was sick. We're about to get into more of it. First place was $500 cash, you know, just right out of the gate, plus the invite, you know what I mean? And
second
place,
Liliana the Veils.
Four of them,
not just one. Four
lilies. And it's just, he was all about making the player super comfortable and super happy.
Third place,
4 Cavernous Souls.
No, 4 Tarmogoyfs.
4 Tarmogoyfs.
Fourth place, 4 Noble Hierarchs. Fifth place, 4 Snapcaster Mages. Sixth place, 4 Scalding Tarns. Seventh, 4 Verdant Catacombs. And eighth, 4 Cavernous Souls. That's over $2,500 in prizes to the top 8. Now, he only pays out top 8, but it doesn't matter. I mean, those are great prizes.
Those
totally worth it. I've been to a lot of
prizes.
tournaments, spent more than $20 a tournament, and, you know, it's a gamble. Like, you're gambling a little bit to get those, you know, type of prizes, but they're good. He's also about to give out a tabernacle.
At a legacy tournament.
A mint fresh tabernacle.
Yeah.
So this guy is like, he's making waves. He's doing changes. The name of this place is Sports Cards Etc. It's in Canonsburg / McMurray, PA.
Yeah, somewhere outside of Pitt.
It's outside of Pittsburgh. Again, we have to thank them. They opened up extra spots in this tournament. It capped at 80. They opened up 4 extra spots for my team. And we got to thank them for that. It was awesome. It was a fun tournament. I ended up going 4-3. The best person on our team lost my last round. The best person on our team got a 4-2. I was
5-2.
in 5-2. Yeah, I'm sorry. I made 24th. He got 15th. And then we had a brand new player with us. His first tournament ever. Magic tournament ever. I handed him Eldrazi and said, here's some basics, here's what you do. And he went like 3-4.
3-4.
3-4. It's pretty great. Won his first 2 rounds. Really, really good. What else is going on? Oh, we're going to leave they have a Gaming Universe Facebook group, and we'll leave a link to that in our show notes so you can check it out, because if you're anywhere in this area within a 2-hour driving distance, it's 100% worth it to go to the shop.
And listen, followers, we were 2 hours away. We made a little bit of a trek to get there just for the tournament. It was a really good decision.
100% worth it.
A lot of players there were driving some distance just to get to the shop and do it on a regular basis. Like every Friday night, they're coming from 30 minutes to an hour away.
People were saying they'd drive an hour for an F&M.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I found it amazing. His F&M prizes are like way better than...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's crazy.
They're talking 40-player F&Ms. And I think Seth was talking to one of their local players.
Yeah, I talked to a lady who was very nice, an opponent of mine. Her and her husband... said that they were there when they first started doing F&Ms, because it was a sports card shop originally, and then they kind of got into the Magic game. This Bryce guy like knew how to run tournaments.
Yeah.
Their first F&M was 2 couples. It was like 4 people F&Ms, and then a year later, at this point, they're running an average 40-person F&M.
Yeah.
And they focus on Eternal format, so it's Modern and Legacy, I think, the majority.
Most of the time.
And then team sealed events and things like that, some fun events. But yeah, man, it was awesome. Let's break down. Okay, that's enough. We're bragging on this shop too much. Let's break down some of what we played and what we felt like. How'd you do, buddy?
I went 3-4. It wasn't my best showing, but it was still fun. The first round I played Scapeshift, which is probably my worst matchup. He was on the newer build with the Madcap Experiment version. It went pretty well for me. He got stuck on lands game 2. I crumbled away one of them, and at that point it was just, all downhill for him. It was a pretty easy matchup for me. He was a super nice guy. I really appreciated, not being super tilted about it, because I know it was terrible for him. My deck's not very fun to play. Round 2, I played against Effendi. Normally a pretty good matchup for me. Just didn't fall my way. I ran into a couple spell pierces. I thought I kept good hands to go against them. It just wasn't there. Same with round 3. I played against elves. I mean, game 1, I really got it with Anger of Gods. Game 2, he beat me before I could even wrath, and then Game 3, he just went so wide I couldn't handle it. And sometimes you don't get the board wipe, and that's just how it goes. I was running 6 in the main. I didn't have the 2 in the sideboard like I normally do, but you can't win them all. I did play against Suicide Zoo. I had a pretty good matchup against it. The board wipes, I found all of them against him, unfortunately, and it was just not a good time. It was a different version, though. I really liked his build. It was the 5-color, kind of like the Bushwhacker converted into Death Shadow build. So a lot of the times he was playing really cool cards, Might of Orlara, stuff like that. But a Blood Moon is devastating, along with an Anger of the Gods. Mixed with some Blessed Alliances for the last, remaining Death Shadows. And I think one game I had a Chalice on 1 from the first turn on. And I think that was just a little too devastating for him, having trouble getting away. I ran into Eldrazi Tron too. It was a pretty popular deck this weekend. We'll talk a lot about that coming up. The deck's just powerful. I mean, it is.
Yeah. Obviously, we gave our homeboy Sean Money Munfield, and this guy's been playing with me. We've been teaching him. He learned Magic about 4 months ago, 6 months ago, probably 6.
Yeah.
I got him hooked up and playing some stuff, and he wanted to get out of Standard and into Modern because that's what we play primarily. Mm-hmm. And he had been playing Bushwhacker for a while, and I was like, why don't you step your game up? Let's give you a more powerful deck. It's harder to do that. You can have those explosive hands with Bushwhacker that just win you games, but let's get you in a deck. Let's take the training wheels off, and let's get you in a deck that you can get good with and is super powerful, and you can also have those explosive draws that just are hard to beat.
Yeah.
And, man, to go 3 and 4 his first tournament was, he did as
good.
well as you.
Yeah, he did as well as me.
That deck, though, is a lot. It's a lot
hard.
Good.
I think one game he went, it was a very nice guy named Derek. He went, I think it was like turn 3, Thought Not Seer. He took my Wrath away, and then turn 4 he played Smasher, and it was just, swing for 9. And it's hard to get around that. Eldrazi Temple really makes that deck come around. It's just hard. And he wasn't. Yeah, he was a good player. Oh, I lied. I'm sorry. It wasn't Eldrazi Tron. It was Ban Eldrazi. He was also playing the Ancient Stirrings.
Yeah.
Very good card. So I
love it. An Amulet.
Yeah, love it. An Amulet. I bet you do. So he had a lot of cool cards too. But still, the Thought Not into Reality Smasher is always going to be a little hard to beat. He had different ways to find everything. He also had counter spells for some of my stuff. Just not a great matchup for me in general. The only way I squeaked out one game is with a turn 2 Blood Moon. Kept him off lands for the rest of forever. But yeah, that was pretty much my tournament.
Yeah. Basically, the moral of the story is stop playing Sun and Moon, and you will. You'll stop.
I will.
You'll stop. My tournament went like this. I was pretty pumped to play this deck, except when we got there, I realized I didn't have my Rancors. I didn't have Experiment 1s. I had to play Vexing Devil's Mane, which was the worst card in my deck the whole time. And I was playing Bushwhacker Zoo. I was playing the heavy combo version with all 4 Hidden Herbalists. Also, probably not worth it. I think I would take out at least one moving forward. And round 1, I get paired up against traditional Abzan with, a lot of life gain in it. He collected Brutality me twice and somehow pulled out that win. I think the guy... he was a good player. I think he was got a little frustrated, because the deck can be tilting. You can get tilted playing against that deck whenever you're just like burning tree, Bushwhacker, smash it for 8. But this individual, I think he even almost left the tournament. But this will show you what can happen if you just calm down and go back. I think he ended up, I don't know if he won, but he definitely top 8'd. I think he ending the day in the number 2 seed. So congratulations to him. It was a pleasure playing against that guy. I was very lucky to beat it. I had some good draws at the end of that round. Played against Boggles next. He played turn 1 Boggled, and I was like, all right, so there's no way I'm winning this. But I won. I 2-0'd him. I just had this insane hand. I felt bad for him. I just had 2 hands. I had those, you're going to get there and there's nothing they can do about it. And he had that, I didn't draw my life gain enchantment hand. I also had the bolt each time he played a core Spirit Dancer or Firewalker or core. What is it called? Not Firewalker. Core.
Spirit Dancer.
Yeah, core Spirit Dancer. So he was unable to get that train running. Then I got in round 3, got paired down to a guy. I think his name is Joshua. He's playing Green Red Ponza. This dude was awesome. We had one of the best, my favorite match of the whole tournament. I didn't know how this matchup would go that well. I mean, he's got sweepers. He top decked a Bonfire of the Damned, cast it for 2, and was able to wipe out most of my board.
Gross.
We went 1-1, so we're in game 3, and we just have this epic knockdown, drag out battle, and we're both sweating draw steps, right? It's getting down, no cards in hand for me, no cards in hand for him. He's got a Chandra on board. I've got like 1 creature, and we're just seeing who can draw the next thing. I finally chip him down to 3, and we draw maybe 4 draw steps, and I draw, a creature, 1-drop creature, play it. He draws this. Gets on 4th draw step, he draws this card and is like, oh no, what do I do with this? He draws freaking Primal Command, though. It says gain 7 life. So I was like, I think that was the one. The next card I draw is the Tarkus Command, which I could have stopped the Primal Command had it been vice versa. Yeah. And it was just it was a bummer. Then I draw another Tarkus Command. But at this point, Chandra's done all her work, and he kills me. And congratulations to him. It was a great game, great partner. Really fun playing that game. Had a great time on that. Then I get paired up against the Mirror. Did not expect to see that. And he had the Rancors in his deck, which definitely helped. Yeah. And he had better hands, and he's been playing the deck for a long time. I think he was very good at it. He won the die roll. He had more Tarkus commands than me, and he had the Rancors. The Rancors were 100% the right way to play this deck. Don't play the Vexing Devils. Then I got paired up. I don't remember my next match. Followed by Merfolk. I won the next match. Followed by Merfolk. I was able to take Merfolk down again on the back of some just insane explosive hands. I'm talking 3 or 4 creatures into a Burning Tree on turn 2. Yeah. And then, Burn. I played Burn after that. Finally, my record against Burn is over. I beat it. Yeah. I beat Burn. I have not. So I took this deck to an open a while back. And I have not been able to beat Burn. Beat everybody else all day, and then got paired up against 3 Burn decks in the very end to not make day 2 because I lost to each Burn deck. And then finally, in the last round, in 7, going to get my top 16, I lost to Grix's Death Shadow. I kept some not amazing hands. I just didn't have the luck hands, and he had Death Shadows and turn 2 Taskers that were able to get me out. Had a lot of fatal pushes. I don't know if he knew what I was on or not, but he had some... game 1, he had a really great hand against me. And then the next game, I got stuck on 1 land because I kept a sketch ball that I probably shouldn't have kept. And that's how it goes, man.
I mean, that matchup's got to be hard for you with all the pushes and...
It's not awful, though. I feel like, when I'm playing against it, I let somebody else play Bushwhacker, and I'm playing it. I never lose to Bushwhacker. So, I guess they have a lot of removal, a lot of interaction, and if you get them too low, then they've just got a Death Shadow that's going to kill you in one swing because you have a lot of fetch shocks. So, But it was a great tournament overall. Guys, I can't tell you enough. Go check this out. Go check out this place if you're anywhere in this area. But let's get on to the big events. Let's get on to the main events of the weekend. And it's Modern Breakdown time with Tilted Pod. We're going to Syracuse, Nate. We're going to Syracuse.
Listen, I think we would have been there if it just wasn't. It was right outside of our range.
Oh, I think we would have probably. Honestly, if this PPTQ wasn't going on, we probably would have been like, should we go? I don't know.
Yeah, it would have been a hard decision, Yeah. But the PPTQ was definitely the right way to go. But this was right outside the range, I think. I think we're about 8 hours out of this. Would have been really fun to go to. The meta looks kind of crazy. The top 8's kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah. It's very crazy. Let's break it down with number 1, Dan Musser. This guy knocked me out of a GP top 8 one time. Dan Musser playing the opposite of what I was playing in Legacy, but he's playing Eldrazi-tron. Eldrazi-tron, man, kind of had a hot weekend. We're going to talk about Eldrazi-tron, this list. We're going to talk about some of the things he did different. First of all, he's playing the main deck Wormcoil and main deck Ulamog. That seems to be the thing these days. That seems to be the hotness. Right?
I think the Ulamog's great.
He's cut down to only 2 Ghost Quarters, so we can run the Sanctum of Ugin. The Sanctum of Ugin allows him to get that Ulamog.
And he's also running the 2 Wastes. I like 2 Wastes.
2 Wastes is good. One Relic of Progenitus main and one Collar. I don't know how much I like that. I think the 2 relics is fine. The Basilisk Collar can be really great, and it can be very annoying. Everybody, I'm sure, has been staring down a Endbringer or Walking Ballista with a Basilisk Collar on it, and it is very frustrating. But 2 All Is Dust main, got to have that. 2 Dismember main. Dismember is such a great and unfair Magic card sometimes. Actually, I think it's very fair. You take 4 life, to be able to play it in a deck like this, but it is a 1 mana removal spell that can kill pretty much anything.
Oh, for sure.
Hangerback Walker in the sideboard. 2 of. 1 more Basilisk Collar. 2 Grafdigger's Cage. 1 Pithy Needle. 3 Relic of Progenitus. So after sideboard, he's got the full 4. He's ready to go. 2 Surgical Extractions. Hey, guess what? Graveyards, I don't want you around. 2 Ratchet Bombs and 2 Warping Whales. Yeah, I got to counter something. Countering things.
I think the deck looks great.
You're just over there making as much noise as possible, bro?
I was trying to. Did you hear that? That was crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this deck looks really good. Dan Musser, he is a player from the Columbus area, and he's very good. Very, very strong competitor.
He's always solid at most events he goes to.
Yeah. Really great. Really great. I'm assuming guy, but he also beat King Joffrey White in the finals of this event. What was he on, buddy?
A little bit of a different version of Eldrazi Tron. A lot of the same.
But it's Eldrazi Tron.
Yeah. Eldrazi Tron wins. It's a little bit of a different deck, though. He was not running the Wormcoil engine. He was running the Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, which I do like. I think that card's a great finisher. He is cut down to 1 Karn Liberated. I think 2 is definitely the right number for Karn. Karn's just such a solid card, and you're always looking for something, and it can be such a beatdown. So to replace those 2 cards, the Wormcoil and a Karn, he put in 2 Mind Stones. A little bit of acceleration. I really dig that. I think that knowing that you can't always be on the Tron plan is, smart. You're a realistic person. And so having the 2 Mind Stones also allows him to do some silly things on turn 3 and 4 without getting all of the Tron pieces. His lands are a little bit different. He's not running the Sanctum of Ugin. He's doing the 3 Ghost Quarter plan. I like 3 Ghost Quarters. I think in a world when some of your worst matchups are so reliant on their mana base, getting them down with Ghost Quarter is always good. Some of these decks only have 1 basic or 2 basics anyway. So if you can kind of cut them off of their land, you're pulling so far ahead with this deck that it's just unrealistic to come back. He does have the 1 Basilisk Collar and the 1 Relic.
He's got a 1-1 split between the sideboard, but he does only have 1 Relic in the thing. Does he have 3 in the side?
He has 2 in the side.
2 in the side, so he cannot go up to the full 4s.
And I'm not sure how I feel about that. I guess that Dredge has been...
He also has 1 less Surgical Extraction.
Yeah, and I think that's because Dredge has been on the downswing right now.
But double Pithy Needle.
So, yeah, I think Pithy Needle is...
Okay, so I thought green-white, because Todd Stevens just plays these stupid-ass decks, and then all of a sudden,
what was that?
Everyone, it's a great deck. I actually built it. But it's not, it's not great, but it's a good deck.
It's great.
But he plays these decks, and then they get very popular, right? Yeah. So this green-white, Azusa and Ramanap Ruins deck. Excavator guy deck, I thought it would be a lot more popular, which is why I didn't play Amulet this weekend. Because I don't like playing against 15 Ghost Quarters. But Tron, having Pithy Needle in the sideboard, I think a lot of times it could be, if he's worried about it. The problem is that this deck is already good with that. It doesn't need Tron. Yeah. This deck can run off of a lot of things, but naming Ghost Quarter wouldn't be bad. So having 2, maybe that's up to that.
Well, I think Pithy Needle also stops some of the fast aspects of decks, Inkmoth Nexus, stuff like that. Some of the troublesome land creatures that they can't really kill instantly. All Is Dust obviously is a sorcery. They only have the 2 Dismembers to really instantly get rid of some of this stuff.
You know why I actually think these decks did really well this weekend though?
What's that?
Chalice of the Void. I think it is Chalice's time to shine. Chalice goes through this period of not being good and then being very good and then kind of going away and then not being good. I feel like Blood Moon's the same way. Sometimes Blood Moon's amazing, other times it's like meh, Chalice is hot right now.
I can tell you for sure that Chalice is hot right now. Every time I played Chalice this weekend, it felt like my opponent just let out this huge sigh of disappointment. It just felt overpowered.
You just sometimes feel defeated whenever you get that early Chalice. It's cool though, man. And then in third place, Daniel Duffy. What do we got here?
We have a really cool Merfolk deck. Daniel Duffy.
Is it cool, Nate?
I really appreciate it. Yeah, this is a cool deck.
Is it cool, Nate?
So I built this deck for my girlfriend to play. She kind of likes the creature aspect of it. There's not a whole lot of crazy decisions to make in the version.
Again, hold on a second. Let us preface this. We said this twice, though. Not because she's a girl.
No, right.
Because your girlfriend also doesn't like Magic very much, and
Yes.
you just wanted something like she could play along with.
Yes. And so the version I built her didn't have a whole lot of decisions to make. I know it was kind of an easier deck for her to pick up at any time and remember what all the cards did. This version that Daniel Duffy made, I also played her deck a lot. I really like Merfolk, so I also have a version that I play. The version Daniel Duffy has made is great, and let me tell you why. So he has the same creature package as most Merfolk decks do. He has cut out one of the Harbinger of the Tides and one of the Master Waves going to a 3-3 split so that he could put 2 Vendilion clicks in there.
That's cool.
And I love that. He's also not running the Great Glass Spinner. Mm-hmm. Which I like. Kira has always been good for me. She's really solid in certain situations. Sometimes you just don't want her, though. And instead of running Kira the Great Glass Spinner, he has put in 2 Smuggler's Copters. This card is starting to make a little bit of waves in Modern.
Oh, I get it. Master Wave.
See what I did there? And I think the Smuggler's Copter is creeping into the Modern scene just as people are starting to experiment with small numbers of it. It's easily a card I could see being good as a 3 of in the Merfolk deck. Now that you see it and you know what's going on, I mean, a lot of people who play Merfolk will agree that sometimes the turn 1 Curse Catcher is not always the best play. But when you play a turn 2 Smuggler's Copter and your Curse Catcher can outcrew your Copter while being there for protection, I mean, it's pretty good.
I would even go as far as to say that turn 1 Curse Catcher is fine, but what's not fine is late game, draw a Curse Catcher, and now you got a 1/1 that really its ability is irrelevant at this point, but it can crew your Copter that's been sitting there.
Yeah, but when you're playing Curse Catcher against, creature decks, not necessarily the greatest thing in the world.
Right.
But if it can do other things while being available to sacrifice
That's
itself,
what I'm saying, yeah.
It has a lot of value to it. And so this deck is really good. He's also bumped up to 3 Dismembers. I like that. He's not running any of the counter spells. His land breakdown is the same as normal: 2 Cavernous Souls, 12 Islands.
This
1
deck has
Manamo, 1 Oboro.
main deck hate against, Tron decks too.
4 Spreading Seas, yeah. And that is a staple of the Merfolk deck.
Right, you have to have it.
It just can't. It can't fight against some of those unfair decks, and so Spreading Seas is readily available in the main deck to kind of handle those situations. 4 Mutavaults, but the sideboard's also really cool. That's where a lot of the counter spells come in. In fact, let's go over these numbers to see how many of these cards aren't counter spells. So in the sideboard, it's running 3 Ceremonious Rejections, good for all of the colorless spells.
I love this card.
2 Dispels, good for the burn decks and all the instants.
And combo.
3 Relic of Progenitus, not a counter spell, but super useful against all of the graveyard interacting decks, which right now is everything.
You have to have it.
1 Echoing Truth.
Love it.
Still good. 2 Hurkyl's Recalls. I mean, Good Luck Affinity. 2 Negates and 2 Unified Wills. I mean, the sideboard is just sweet. And so I think that Daniel Duffy has been playing Merfolk for a while, and he's really tuned this into what the meta is right now. And I think that this is a great version of Merfolk for anybody who's playing the deck to look at and to kind of see where he has tuned it to. Because I think the sideboard is good against just about everything that's out there right now.
Yeah, 9 of the 15 sideboard cards are
counter spells.
Counter spells.
And it's just unbelievable.
I think this deck is sweet too. I'm not a huge Merfolk fan, but if I was going to play it, I think that looks like a pretty cool list.
Yeah.
Coming in fourth, Jonathan Rossum. This is the guy who's been piloting blue-white Monument, right? Yeah,
yes.
He's had like 2 good finishes with blue-white Monument, and he's back at it again with Jeskai Control.
This is a good build.
Is this anything similar to your control build?
It is a lot similar in the land base for sure. The land base is almost identical.
Are you 24?
I'm at 24 as well. The
Cut
spells.
that fourth colonnade. God, I hate that fourth colonnade.
The colonnades are good. Push is a card, and so you got to match push for
I
colonnade.
hate colonnade.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't hate it. It's a good card, but I think that 4 of them, oh man, it bothers me. I don't know why.
Agree to disagree. The spells are a lot the same. He's running 3 logic knots. That's the one that. This is the one slot that I don't really agree with. I think 3 is a lot. I get that having it early is good and late is good, but sometimes it's hard to fill that graveyard up when you could have some other counter spells to play with. The cool thing that I like is that he's running a Singleton Thundermaw Hellkite in the main board.
Sick.
Abzan, as we know, has been becoming a popular deck in Modern right now. As of, and Lingering Souls. Black-White Hate Bearers won the... or was it Mono-White Hate Bearers that won the Invitational? I think it was Black-White. Lingering Souls is just becoming such a beating of a card because it's hard to deal with. I mean, 4 1/1s for 1 card is pretty good. And so I think Thundermaw Hellkite also can help with that. And if they don't have an immediate answer to it, it's also 5 damage.
Well, that's just not Lingering Souls, but think of it, Flicker Wisp. I mean, it kills a lot of things.
All the flying creatures with the 1 toughness, yeah. He's also running 2 Geist of Saint-Traft main. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. I think that spot
Dude,
is
get
usually
them beats in with Geist.
Usually is reserved for Vanillion Click or something like that. And so
But my thing though is that whenever he wants to just like turn the page or turn it on, like he can with this deck.
That's true.
Like against a combo deck or something, and he just needs to be like, I gotta hit him, like hard.
Yeah.
He's gonna burn them and then smash for 7 each turn,
and Geist
he
is a
could kill
super
them
good
so
card.
fast.
Yeah.
Because you're swinging for 6, 6, and then he's got his lightning helix, his lightning bolts, and snapcasters. I mean, he's gonna put on a lot of pressure to some combo decks spinning their wheels.
Bolt Snap Bolt is a real thing. The interesting thing about this deck is he's running only 1 Planeswalker in the 75, and that's an Elspeth Sun's Champion in the sideboard. Yeah, he's also doing the 2 Ruined Halos. That card is beginning to see a lot of play.
It's in every sideboard right now, but I still look at it. What are you gonna name? What is the main reason to have Ruined Halo in this list? Do you think?
And I think that I was talking to another Sun and Moon player over the weekend about this, and he really got me thinking about what cards you would name with Ruined Halo. And I think that
what makes it so much better than another slot?
I think that it's just the fact that you can name anything. Valakut, you have protection from Valakut.
That's the only thing I can think of as being like a very good,
yeah.
target.
But even then, I think that that's too specific. So there's got to be other cards out there that Ruined Halo really hits. So if you're listening to the podcast, Twitter followers, or just listening to our podcast.
Why don't you send out what your favorite thing to Ruined Halo is?
Yeah,
if you've ever Ruined Halo'd something
with Ruined Halo,
let me know what you're talking about, because I've played it and I put it in some sideboards and I have it, and I've never really felt like, oh, you know what? I just want this Ruined Halo, except for when I'm playing against Scapeshift. Other than that, I'm like, I guess you just bring it in and it's just another nerf or stuff, but I think I've played it against Affinity one time. I don't know. It's a good card. It's a pretty pricey card right now, so it's just not one of the cards that I guess I'm just dumb and I just don't get it. I don't know why it's become such a big thing in sideboards. A catch-all answer is the only thing I can think of. In 5th place, Affinity by Ciaran McKenzie. Affinity, man, this is the deck I'm about to be piloting up. He's running 2 Etched, 2 Master of Ethereal. He's got 3 Mem Knights. That's the normal number. It seems like we have completely switched from the land that dies. What?
You're talking about the Spire of Industry for Glimmervoid?
Yes, Glimmervoid.
Yep.
We've completely made the switch from Glimmervoids to Spire of Industries in this list. In fact, he's also running 1 Seagate Wreckage to draw some cards at the end. I think that's a great idea. The 2 Master, 2 Etched Champion split is kind of, seems cool, I guess. Galvanic Blast is a 4 of. Let's talk about this sideboard. He's got a lot of white. I like the white in his sideboard. He's got 2 Dispatch, which I've actually been testing with his exact copy. The dispatches seem really nice. Grafdigger's Cage is one of 3 Stubborn Denials. Also seem very nice. But if I'm playing Stubborn Denial, I think I'd rather be playing 4 Master of Ethereum instead of the 2 and 2.
Yeah.
He's got 1 Thoughtseize, 2 Hercules Recalls. This is tight. I like Hercules Recall for a lot of reasons. Protection of its target player, so protection of your own things, like bounce everything to your hand after they try to wrath or do something, then rebuild. Or if you're playing in the mirror, yeah, see you guys.
Yeah.
Bounce all your stuff after you sacrifice everything to that Arcbound Ravager. Yeah, bounce by. Rest in Peace on the side, Edge Champion, the other 2, Gear for Aether Grid. This card is sweet. I think this is just like one of the best pickups that, Affinity has gotten in a long time. And a Wear Tear. I want to try running 1 Bomat Courier in a Mimnite spot. I don't know for sure if I should, but I want to. I want to try it out. Or maybe just 3 Master of Ethereums, 3 Mimnites, 1 Bomat.
Yeah.
I think the extra card draw might be worth it. I want to get 7 cards off that thing like Homeboy did at the Pro Tour. But, Yep, Affinity is there. I think it's finally being caught up, I think it's finally catching up with the good results that they've been having, and people are starting to pack a lot of hate for Affinity.
I agree.
Coming in 6th place. Place.
Dan Jessup, Grixis Death Shadow.
Danny boy.
This is a pretty stock list, except for something that we talked about over the weekend is that
They're cutting lands.
They're cutting lands for sleight of hand, and it seems to be the popular thing right now. I mean, everybody seems to be kind of doing it.
Yeah, they cut 1 land for a sleight of hand.
And so, is that the right choice? Probably.
I think it's the right evolution of the deck.
Yeah, Dan Jessup is running the 3 Stubborn Denials mainboarded. I do kind of like going up to 3. I know for a while they're running 2. They're down to 2 Inquisitions, though, and 4 Thoughtseize, so only 6 of the hand disruptions.
That's how I ran, though.
Yeah, and so but everything else is pretty stock. I mean, the sideboard's even a little stock. He does have 2
No,
Tamir
I think
Battle
there's something.
Rages.
Yeah, that's not stock so
that's
far.
not
I
stock.
think this is where the deck needs to come back to a little bit and have that surprise. You're dead. Because there's a lot of decks that are trying to clog up the board, and I can block that Death Shadow all day. But if you just go patow, it's game's over.
Yeah.
I think it's cool to have it in the side. There's obviously the main deck is so tight you can't fit any more, but adding Serum or adding Sleight of Hand, and you've got your Serum Visions, and you're trying to find this because you're playing against a heavy clog deck. I think it's great.
Yeah, and I think that he probably surprised a lot of people this weekend.
Yeah, he's also running Flame Tendrils in the side. He's not trying to go. He's very little red in this deck, very little, because they cut a Blood Crypt, right? I think that's
just 1 Blood Crypt in the main, and it's at the
So the cut, the cut was the second Blood Crypt. Right. So now you still have all of those fetches. You still have the 12 fetches, but only 1 Blood Crypt, 2 Watery Graves, and 1 Steam Vents.
7th place, though. I mean, you gotta give it to him. Caleb coming in with Red Gift Storm.
I just listened to him on Turn 1 Thoughtseize talk about this deck, another podcast on the MTG Cast Network, and they were able to talk to him and break this down. It's sweet, man, it's awesome to see him finish so well right after talking about it. And if you look, his is the cheapest version of Blue Red Storm you could buy. I don't know why his is so much cheaper.
$252.54 on paper.
That's paper. Only $115 online. So if you're looking for a budget deck online, I know $115 is a lot, but it's like that's a very
cheap modern deck.
Right? And you could get a lot of playing online with this. So. And it's a freaking sweet deck. In fact, we're going to talk about whether or not we think this was the deck of the weekend because there's 7 decks put across this, the Challenge, and the Classic. I'll tell you a little bit of the difference in this. He is running 3 Peer Through Depths. He's got 3 Grape Shots, but he has no main deck Empty the Warrens, does he?
No, it's 3 in the sideboard.
Yeah, well, so not a single Empty the Warrens in the main, all Grape Shots. Some people run 1 empty in the main just in case they get that crazy empty hand. The only 7 bears that are reduce your mana is interesting. I usually play the 8, or I've always liked playing the 8. Other than this, his deck is just, it's stock as can be.
Oh, no. We got to talk about the land base. Do you see how many fetches he's running?
Fetches, he's running 0.
0 fetch lands.
That is why his is so much cheaper than everybody else. He's got a Cascade Bluff, 4 islands, 1 mountain, 4 Shivan Reefs, 4 Spire Bluff Canals, and 4 Steam Vents. Interesting choice not to run any fetch lands.
I love it. I mean, he's got such a streamlined deck, and he's getting an island off of every land he has except for one.
Not a single fetch.
Not a single fetch. So he can play all of his blue 1-drops on turn 1 with either taking 2 damage or mainly no damage. And it's just a pretty wild thing to see.
Very interesting.
No fetch lands in a deck.
So he also can just kind of burn you out too. He's got Lightning Bolts, Lightning Bolt, Passing Flames. He'll do that in the sideboard. Shattering Spree, 3 of them. I think this is a great card. Obviously, Shattering Spree gets through Chalice, and Chalice is one of those problems. One of these things that can give this deck a problem. If you even have time to get to Chalice on 2, it's a very big problem. 2 Swan Songs, 2 Dismembers, 2 Pieces of the Puzzle. Can you read Pieces of the Puzzle for me?
Yeah, Pieces of the Puzzle.
Pieces of the Puzzle. Pieces of the Puzzle.
Shadows of Innistrad, 2 generic, 1 blue.
2 generic.
Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. Put up to 2 instant and or sorcery cards from among them into your hand, and the rest into your graveyard.
Seems like a good card in Storm, bud.
Seems like a good card in Storm.
Finishing that out with the Empty the Warrens, and that is all for that deck. Congratulations, Caleb. In 8th place, we are going to Storm again. You are Gifts. Storm, Ryan Dunn.
This one is a little bit of the same, a little bit of the different. He does
6
have,
fetches.
Yeah, he has 6 fetches. But
so
he does
that
have,
literally brought the price from $115 to $246 online.
Pretty much
it brought it from $250 in paper to almost $500.
Yep.
So guess what? You can run this deck without fetches, and I think you're going to do fine if you're Caleb. And I think even if you're not Caleb.
Yeah, I think the land base probably didn't give him main troubles at all. The difference in this deck is definitely the one of Empty the Warrens in the main board.
Yes, one of Empty, and also he flip-flopped it. There's 3 Baral and 4 Goblin Electromancers instead of the other way around.
Do you think that matters?
I do. I think Baral's better.
Yeah, just because it...
1, it's a generic and a blue. 2, you get the second-hand thing of, does this have Remands in it? Yeah, 4 Remands, which doesn't make sense because Remand, you get a counterspell and then double loot. Right? So you get to draw 2, discard 1 because of Brawl. So why he dropped one of the Brawls, I understand it's legendary, but if I was going to keep one, also it's just fodder. Like it dies.
To everything, yeah.
And the 1/3 makes it better against Collective Brutality, which is a beating against this deck.
Yeah.
And Electromancer dies to Brutality while they drain you and take one of your instants.
Yeah, the sideboard's way different.
Sideboards way, and I feel like no one's really figured out these sideboards yet. Like perfect. Yeah. We got Blood Moons, Pieces of the Puzzle. That's normal. A Crumble to Dust, which is kind of cool because you can ramp out into it and just wreck Tron right away. Empty the Warrens, the 4th one, or no, the 2nd one. Shatterstorm, which is good against a lot of things. Vandal Blast, Echoing Truth, Negate, 2 Quickens. What do you think these Quickens are there for?
I like the Quickens. It's good that it draws a card.
Quicken Grape Shot?
I'll give it that. And you can quicken either Grape Shot or Empty the Warrens. And so...
Because like everything else is instant, right?
Yeah, everything else is instant.
All of your spells are instant except for Quicken.
And Pass and Flames.
And your draw cards. Like obviously they're sort of... But, Pass and Flames is like... But you could like gifts, get a bunch of things, and then Quicken into...
Whatever you need to get, yeah. And so I like the Quickens. I'd be curious to know why they're in the sideboard or what decks they're in the sideboard for. Maybe for tap out decks that you want to try and who are tapping out at your end step, you can kind of quicken in response, get them that way. Maybe for more control decks. But yeah, interesting deck, cool deck.
That's the top 8 for that. We're going to just talk about the next 8 decks. We're not going to really break them down, but we will get into what they were. So in 9th, you've got another Gift Storm. That's the 3rd in this event.
Yeah.
You got Affinity in 10th. You are Gift Storm again in 11th. 12th is Titan Shift. 13th, Slivers. Okay, we got to look at. Okay, we're gonna look at Slivers for a second.
I mean, if Slivers is in the top 16, you gotta do it.
This is Dark Heart Sliver, Gale Rider Slivers. I mean, man, this is it. This is this deck. It's Collected Company Aether Vial deck with a bunch of Slivers, right? These slivers do all kind. I couldn't even read all these things. There's so many. Yeah, go check this deck out. We're not going to break this down.
Do you think Sliver Hive has really made this deck a little more playable with Cavernous Souls?
Yeah, you got so many. You have so many multicolored spells. I mean, I think Aether Vial Collected Company made this deck viable.
Sure. But I mean, just even before that, just getting the right land base had to be tough.
Yeah, because now it's like a 5-color deck, and you can run a colorless land Mutavault. Like, that's kind of insane.
Yeah, it's
as
a
like
little bit
sliver. Insane. 4 more slivers.
Yeah.
Like, who thought that they could run a 5-color deck and then still have room for 4 Mutavaults?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
That's 100% because of Cavern and because of Sliver Hive. But yeah, there's just, I can't read all these slivers. There's so many. We're going to get out of there. There is a deck that I did want to talk about after slivers. No, Eldrazi and Taxes, Eldrazi Tron. So there's another one, Tron. But in 17th, it almost hit that top 6 team, is a Titan Shift deck I think we should mention. This is a Titan Shift deck that is playing
Hour of Promise.
Hour of Promise, yeah. So grab your 2 Valakuts. But the reason it's playing Hour of Promise is because it's playing 3 Prismatic Omens. So it's got a lot of 2-mana ramp into your 5-mana ramp. Now, with Prismatic Omen out, if you have 5 mountains, because everything is now all land types.
Yep.
So you have 5 mountains out, and you Hour of Promise, get 2 Valakuts. They come in. They're both mountains. They both trigger. So now you've got 12 damage coming at your face. This is cool. Or just killing any creatures on the board.
Yeah.
It still has, prime times and everything like that, but I'm a huge fan of Prismatic Omen in these decks, and so I think Hour of Promise might actually be a sweet card in this. There is no deserts, so it's not like you're ever going to get the, zombie claws, but it's sweet, man.
I also like the 2 colony hard expeditions.
Yeah.
Just, being able to put out 2 basics as well with the Prismatic Omen and a Valakut. I mean, this deck is less reliant on the Scape Shift and Prime Time.
Yeah, I don't think this even
lands.
needs a Scape Shift to win. I mean, it can, obviously, but
yeah, it has
it
so
could
many
just win
other
through
ways.
Hour of Promise.
Yeah, and I love that about the deck. And well, it's not just Hour of Promise, but what you hit on too is Prismatic Omen. I mean, it can win with Prismatic Omen out and a Valakut.
Yeah, you need Prismatic Omen in this deck, in this version of the deck, I think. And I have our buddy who went 5-2 at the tournament. He was playing this deck, and I was very big advocate for Prismatic Omen, and I think he agrees at this point after playing the deck a lot. Prismatic Omen is the way to go in those Valakut strategies.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough for the Open. Congratulations to all those competitors. I will say this: Lightning Bolt was the number 1 played card.
It's back.
It's back, baby. It's back. Fatal Push is not even on this list.
Well, I think the absence of a lot of the Death Shadow variants and flavors has to help that number increase.
Yeah.
And I think that Fatal Push is still a very good card.
Oh, yeah.
But we're finally starting to see where the damage side of Lightning Bolt is coming to be a factor.
It's relevant. All right. In first place at the Classic, we've got Dan Benipoyo, man, playing Titan Shift. This one is not playing Hour of Promise, sadly. But it is playing main deck Engineer Explosives. And it's playing a Blood Crypt. I'm not really sure why. Oh, in the sideboard, they've got 1 Maelstrom Pulse. Anything else cool about this deck?
It's got the 1 Chandra Torch of Defiance. I like that.
Double Courser.
And double Courser of Crewfix. I know that some decks go on that. The burn matchup can always be a little upsetting to the Scapeshift player, which is what he played in the finals to win the Classic. Mm-hmm. So having those 2 Coursers was probably a little bit of a help to him. Miles
Against Burn, you mean?
Hoosman, who was on Burn. He was on the red-white version, which is the version...
With the 1 Grim Lavamancer.
I really like with the 1 Grim Lavamancer.
This is a deck of 4 ofs, and then 1 Grim Lavamancer.
And then 1 Grim Lavamancer, yeah.
He's got triple the threat in Snaring Bridge in the sideboard, man. That's a lot of ensnaring bridges in his side.
That is a ton of ensnaring bridges.
Ooh, he's running Smash to Smithereens, though. Yeah. Eat it, Cranial Plating, and take 3.
Yeah. And I think this burn deck's very good. I think the red-white version is
4 relics on the side, too.
Now becoming better than the Naya version.
It's just more consistent.
It is more consistent. I think the only reason you keep the green in there is for a Targus command. I think a Targus command is just so good. Third place, Affinity. I mean, Stephanie Schlebel. Pretty interesting deck.
Does she have anything cool in here?
She has one Thoughtcast, and so I dig that.
She's still running Glimmer Void, but get off of it, Stephanie. You need to stop.
Hey, I mean, what'd you go this weekend?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You got me.
She's running one Thoughtcast. I kind of dig that. She is running 3 Etch Champion, 2 Master of Ethereums. She did cut a Steel Overseer down to 3. I think Steel Overseer is kind of a clutch card, though, right? I mean, it's always good to have, but it always dies.
If I was going to catch one of, or cut one of my, big things is Steel Overseer. I would go. Yeah. Like, you can't cut Ravager, and you can't cut a plating, and you can't mess with your land base, really. You need your Galvanic Blast. I don't know about the Thoughtcast for sure, but Steel Overseer, maybe I would rather have 2 cards than my 4th Steel Overseer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's really great on turn 1, and hopefully they don't have the push or bolt. But after that, it's like, or if you're both empty-handed and you're in a top deck war. But he's not the, I don't know. For me, so far, he's not the prize I want.
Right. Right. But I do think they cut a land for that Thoughtcast.
16, is that?
They cut just the 3 Glimmer instead of the 4 Spire, and so the 1 basic. So I think 16 lands to get that Thoughtcast. That seems pretty good as long as they can create the colored mana.
Right.
16 is a little light, but
what I want to talk about, though, in this is the sideboard.
Oh, for sure.
I love having 2 Ancient Grudge on the sideboard. The 1 Tormod's Crypt is kind of sweet. It's a 0-drop to turn on your Metalcraft faster. 2 Wear and Tears. A Ravenous Trap. Love this card. If you don't know what it is, it's one of the trap cards. It's 2 and 2 black, which you're never going to cast. And if opponent had 3 or more cards put into his graveyard from anywhere this turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay Ravenous Trap's mana cost. Exile all cards from target player's graveyard. Tight card. Only 1 Aether Grid, 2 Whip Flares, 2 Spell Skites, which is a little different.
Yeah.
I mean, I see it in some, but it's not like real common lately. And then in Ether Swarm Canidus. So maybe she knew Storm was going
to be a thing, yeah.
I wonder if she ever wished she had 2 in there.
Oh, I bet she did.
Yeah.
The one thing that caught me off guard is she has no counter spells in the sideboard.
Yeah.
So maybe that's, sacrifice for production, we'll say. But she did really well, through the weekend. So congrats on 3rd place.
We got Abzan coming in at 4th. This is traditional Abzan.
This deck has really been making a splash in Modern. I mean, it's
good against Death Shadow.
Yeah, we have a deck in our local meta that's doing well. Abzan's just a good deck right now. This one's running 2 Voice Resurgence. I kind of like that against some of the instant decks we got going on right now.
Yeah, this deck is so boring to me. I think it is just like the most boring deck ever. But Brandon, good. Zadzilka. Good job, man. Congratulations.
The only thing I want to highlight about the Abzan deck was the 2 Gideon Ally of Zendikar in the sideboard.
Yeah, that made me like the deck more. But
yeah, we're starting to see more of Gideon also in Modern. It's cool that we've seen some of these standard sessions that are really impacting Modern. And especially some of these Planeswalkers. I really dig that Liliana the Last Hope and Gideon Ally of Zendikar have really made a splash, as well as Chandra. Like, I'm glad that we're getting some more playable Planeswalkers, even if they are.
But Abzan, you're boring.
Sideboard. Yeah, Abzan.
You're boring, man. I'm done with it. I'm done with you, Abzan. I don't even like you. UW Control, baby. This is a deck I thought you'd want to talk about.
Yeah, this is a good deck. I love control strategies.
Except for 4 Colonnades. No, but in UW Control, yes. 4 Colonnades, I get it. But in Jeskai, I just cut some.
Agree to disagree.
Okay.
5 Planeswalkers. I love it. 2 Gideon of the Trials making a splash. 2 Jace Architect Thought and 1 Gideon Jura.
I like the Gideon the Trials more than I like the Gideon Jura in this.
Well, I think Gideon Jura
Trials
is just
leading
there
into Jura is pretty sweet.
Yeah, you have to now kill Gideon Jura to win the game, and that's not going to be easy. So you just can't lose with it out. And I think that some decks would have a lot of trouble.
Look at your
even
Sphinx
killing
sitting there too.
I know Sphinx's Revelation is in there. Think Twice, negate all 1/ofs. 3 Cryptic Command, 3 Supreme Verdict. He's running the 4 Spreading Seas, which is the norm for this deck in the main board. 2 Dissension Spheres to clear everything out. The deck's just good. I mean, white, I think, in my personal opinion, is the best sideboard color right now, and that's just from playing Sun and Moon so long. You get Stony
Well, you just have
Silence.
the most hate. Hate.
Stony Silence, Rest in Peace, Leyline of Sanctity, all good cards. He's got 2 Rest in Peace and 2 Stony Silence in his sideboard, as well as Timely Reinforcements and Elspeth Sun's Champion, all white. Just a great looking deck. I mean, I think the deck's great. I personally like the Jeskai version a little bit better as it can turn the corner faster, but U-White is still a very good control deck.
Yeah, very good. In what place are we at?
6th place.
6th place, we got You Are Gift Storms with Dylan Gooley. The only thing different about this deck, man, the sideboard's got a few differences, but 4 Brawl, 4 Goblin Electromancer. I think if I was playing this deck, this is where I'd want to be. So congratulations to you, Dylan. We've broken this deck down a lot, so we're gonna move on from you.
7th place is kind of interesting.
Here we go. Now we got a deck to talk about.
Yeah.
Bant Spirits.
Joseph Horton, Bant Spirits. This deck has also been making a little bit of splash in Modern. I like some of the diversity they're getting. There's a lot of cool new cards in here. Rattle Chain, Selfless Spirit, Mausoleum Wanderer. A lot of standard cards mixed in.
What is it? Nebelgast Herald.
Oh, yeah, the Nebelgast Herald. Flash Flying. Whenever it or another spirit enters the battlefield under your control, tap target creature an opponent controls. So it's just kind of like, what Miri Ridgery does in Merfolk is that you can now tap some of their creatures when you're playing spirits and swing through for lethal.
You know what I like about these decks, though, is that none of them could actually come together if it wasn't for the one non-spirit in the deck, which is Noble Hierarch. Noble Hierarch and Collected Company made these decks possible and without it, what are you going to do?
Oh, for sure.
Sideboard, Eidolon Rhetoric. 2 of in the sideboard. Got some Kitchen Fiends, got some Unified Wills. I bet Unified Will is really good in this deck.
Oh, yeah. 4 of them.
Yeah, a full 4. Rest in Peace, Stony Silence, Blessed Alliance. You got white, so you got a lot of good sideboard cards.
Yeah.
Cool deck, man. Congratulations to you. In 8th place, Adam West. Sad.
The mayor.
Sad that Adam West is. But Eldrazi-tron.
This is different.
Obviously, this wasn't Adam West's ghost, but
2 Endbringers instead of the Wormcoil Engine and Ulamog.
No, but Endbringer's still normal.
Endbringer's
no
normal.
Ulamog is weird.
Yeah, Ulamog or Wormcoil is what I'm saying. Their finisher is...
He's
their
playing
top end is Endbringer.
Only 3 Chalice. That's probably why he didn't get first in this tournament, homie. Just kidding.
Get your 4th one.
He's got Spatial Contortion. He's got his 4th in the side. He's got Spatial Contortion in the sideboard too, which I like. Picks off a lot of things. 2 Hangers, 2 Basilisk Collar. So what is it that... What? Oh, he's playing 4 Mimics. How did we not notice that? Instead of playing his big drop. So I was like, where is he? Why did he cut those other cards? It's because he's playing 4 Eldrazi Mimic. I don't think I've ever seen that in Eldrazi Tron.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's an interesting card. I mean, I guess it helps you put on this clock, and he's playing 1 less land. He's playing 23 lands instead of 20.
I guess your turn 1 Eldrazi Temple and the Eldrazi Mimic is a good play. I mean, it really opens up some of the plays you have in the early game. It does give you more things to hit off of Matter Reshaper.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. That is a very good call. More things to hit off Matter Reshaper is true. I might want to try this. I don't know how much I like it. I think I like having a bigger top end more.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe that's okay. All right, man. What was that? 8th place? All right, we'll just rattle off some of the 9th was Tron. 10th, Another Gift Storm. 11th, Ad Nauseum. Awesome. 12th, Mono Green Devotion. This is a doc. This is a deck that has been popping up a lot, and these decks. This type of deck has been popping up, and the meat and potatoes behind this deck is Arbor Elf, Birds of Paradise, and
Utopia Sprawl.
Utopia Sprawl. Thank you. I can never remember the name of that, and also Garruk Wildspeaker. So you're just making tons of mana. This one obviously is running some Nykthos, but you got your payoffs. Your payoffs are Hornet Queen, Craterhoof Behemoth, Primeval Titan, Dragonlord Atarka. Chameleon Colossus is a beast in this deck. Burning Tree Emissary is tight because you Burning Tree into this crazy Nykthos turn.
Yeah.
You got Kessig Wolf Run. I think this deck looks like a lot of fun. You get to play Blood Moon out of the side, Kitchen Finks, Kozilek's Return, and Creeping Corrosion. So you're just destroying all artifacts. I would never want to play against this as Affinity.
Oh, for sure.
This deck is cool, and I bet it's a lot of fun to play. You see anything else cool in the top 16?
Grixis Death Shadow, Affinity, Grixis Death Shadow, and Burn.
Nah.
All decks that we expected to be there. So congrats on everybody who made top 16.
Number 2 in this tournament, though, was Lightning Bolt. Just to say, second most played card. Serum Visions was first, but Lightning Bolt is still, it's up there, man.
Yeah.
All right, we're bringing on Modern Challenge MTGO.
One
guys.
last tournament.
It's the last tournament. And then we have a couple things to let you guys know about the podcast coming up. But let's finish this tournament. What do you got? Who the only 7-0 list? Guess what it was?
You read.
Storm. Gift Storm, man. 4-4. That's the big difference. He's got 4-4. That's why he's winning. That's why he's going 7-0.
Is that what it was? The 4-4 really gave it to him.
I think
the main difference, is that he run the full 8 bears. One Empty the Ruins main board. I mean, I think that's probably the right call. He has 6 fetch lands. It might have been another reason. It's hard to tell though. But the card that keeps coming up, pieces of the puzzle.
It's in every sideboard
it's
now,
in every
I think.
sideboard.
I think it's official that card is part of the deck.
Yeah.
All right, 6-1 list. We've got Counters Company. This is the best Counters Company turnout
that we've seen.
Yeah,
and it's not even.
You know what's also crazy is that in Magic Online, this is the most annoying combo to do because there's so many clicks, click and click and click, and a lot of times people won't play these strategies online because they can time out too easily in a big tournament. So this guy knew what he was doing. He was moving.
Well, and the good part is that he kind of mixed the best of both worlds. So not only does he have the Counters Company deck, he's also running.
Because it's banned.
Yeah, he's also running Knight of the Reliquary, Retreat to Coldhelm, and
he's rocking Reflector Mages, man.
Yeah, this is a nice Bant list. I think is maybe going to set the stage for where Counters Company actually wanted to be.
When we talked about this, how long ago? On our first episode,
couple months.
We've been smashing on the fact, or I thought for sure, and I'm pretty sure you agreed that Bant is the version of this deck I think is the best.
Yeah.
Knight of the Reliquary is where you want to be in this deck, I think, because you're already a company deck, but you need cards that are good anyways, and you get to play the Counter Spirit. What's the Counter Spirit? Spell Queller. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Yeah, this deck's not playing Spell Queller, but I'm just saying cards like that.
Has access to.
Yeah, so it's already playing good cards. Yeah. Now you just throw the combo in there with it. There you go.
You got infinite mana. You can be going off with Knight of the Reliquary, Retreats Coral Helm. You've got a lot of things you can be doing. So it just gives you another win condition.
A lot of access that people have to fight you on, right? Yeah. Another 6-1 deck list is Death and Taxes. I love this deck, man. I've always loved this deck. In Modern, it's hard. I've never been able to do very well with it myself, but I do love it. Thraben Inspector. I love it that he's also just a sweet, Modern card now.
Yeah.
Leonin Arbiter, I think, is a great card. Revoker, name whatever you want. Thalia is great. Blade Splicer's always kind of been the card that's I don't love, but with Flicker Wisp and Restoration Angel and all these things, Blade Splicer becomes a lot better. But at the core, this is an Aether Vial deck. That's what it is.
I like the 2 Dust Dawn in the sideboard. Another card that's starting to peek its way into Modern.
I think it's going to come back. Yeah, 3 Stony Silence. 3 Stony Silence, man. Affinity.
Not losing to it.
See ya. Sunlance, Relic of Progenitus, Grafdigger's Cage, and Burrington Forge Tinder.
Very good card. Protection from Anger of the Gods, I think, is very crucial.
Yeah,
Kozilek's Return. I mean, there's a lot of good red cards out there that are floating around that will destroy your board.
Oh, dude, can I say it like this? Oh, eh, oh, eh, oh, eh. 6-1 disc by deck by How do you say your name? If I
think you're doing a good job. Yeah.
This is Lantern Control, and his opponents were not excited, and they were not singing that song when they were playing against this.
They're having a very bad time.
Main deck Collective Brutality and 2 Surgical Extractions. You got your Ancient Stirrings, which I love. Lantern, Pithing, Pyxis, and Snaring Bridge. 4 of 4 main deck. Leyline of Sanctity. That changed. That is now main deck. Yeah, sweet. Sweet deck.
Bantu's Last Reckoning, the black board wipe we thought was going to...
Is it in the side?
Is in the side. It's good. We thought we were going to kind of take over standard there, and it just didn't have the effect. But
the tapping all the lands thing is just a huge deal. I think it just...
And I think that we talked about it at some point where if you put it in the right deck where you're playing a lot of cards that produce mana without lands, it's a blowout.
Yeah, the Mana Rock's great.
Yeah.
Okay, check this out. Magus of the Moat. Creatures without flying can't attack for a 4-drop. Tight. Give me some Moat in Modern. Give me some of that Moat. Because they're boarding out their removal.
Oh, for sure.
Like, why would you keep removal in?
For sure.
Then you get your welding jars in for all their hate on your artifacts. Mm-hmm. And then you got your Moat, Magus of the Moat, and they're like, I literally cannot kill that. That's awesome. I love it. Seal Gaddock Teague. Gaddock Teague's
That's a neat sideboard card.
That's cool in this deck because they're, again, no removal. Gaddock Teague, see ya. You know what Gaddock Teague stops?
Everything.
That cool card that a lot of people are using now by force. Yeah. 1 red and X, destroy X target artifacts. Gaddock Teague says you can't cast that card.
Very good.
Very cool. I like that. All right, Leonard Control. Then we have Wubug. No, we don't. Jeskai Control. We didn't even talk about Jeskai Control. This is the deck. I'm going to let you talk about this deck because you really want to talk about this version.
Yeah, this is a good version. Getting Ally as Zendikar, 1 Jace Architect, I thought, and 1 Elspeth Sun's Champion. I think that's the right breakdown of Planeswalkers in
Finally,
the deck.
Some Planeswalkers I like. I've always liked Architect of Thought, but throw Ally of Zendikar in a control deck, tight. Yeah. And Sun Champion, I mean, who doesn't like Sun Champion?
Yeah, it's also running 4 snaps with a 1 Gearhawk. I love that.
It's cool.
The spell breakdown's good. I like the 3 Mana Leaks. I think Mana Leak can be a very good card right now. A lot of decks are trying to win early in the game. I think Mana Leak can be a blowout to get you to Cryptic Command and Supreme Verdict.
Let me tell you why I like this deck even more.
Okay.
3 Colonnades. Yeah, thank you, Matt Hedge. 3 Colonnades, man. That's so much. It just looks better to me.
Yeah. But the sideboard is where I really dig it because one of my favorite cards in the world is in the sideboard.
Ooh, I know what that is.
Shadow of Doubt.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Just sweet. 2 of.
Dude, also Counterflux in here?
Yeah.
And 2 Grim Lavamancers?
Hey, man.
That's sweet. That's some sweet spice.
Yeah, and then the wear tears are crucial. The Crumble to Dust is always good against Tron. You got to get there.
This is a deck. This is a Jeskai control deck I would play.
Yeah,
100%. I would play this deck.
2 Ceremonies Rejections. I mean, it's got a lot of cool stuff going on for it. The only card that I would probably not get behind very much is the Grim Lavamancers.
Well, I think it's awesome.
You do?
I think it's cool and techie.
It is cool and techie.
It's removal and a stick.
It is,
and they're not going to have that
dies.
much. They're not. Why would they have that much removal left in for you?
It's just hard to take that many things out of decks.
I understand, but there's 2 of them in there.
That's true. I
think it's cool.
All right, what's the last 6/1 deck?
6/1 CDK. Good name. This is Wubuga. This is, again, an Arbor Elf / Garuk / Utopia Sprawl deck, but this one's got a spin, and that spin is Unburial Rights and 3 Primal Commands. And you're going to unburial some things like El Schnorn or Sphinx of the Lost. No, you're not even going to do that. I don't even know what you're going to unburial, right? I guess
Emrakul the Promising,
which is tight, but they're just going to cast this card because they're going to have a lot of types in their graveyard. 2 Thragtusk Main, some Eternal Witness, a Wood Elves, Acidic Slime, Sphinx of the Lost Truths. I had to read this card. Sphinx of the Lost Truths is 3 generic and 2 blue mana. Kicker, 1 and a blue. Flying, 3/5. When Sphinx of the Lost Truths enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards. Then, if it wasn't kicked, discard 3. So it's good either way in this deck.
Yeah, and I think in the sideboard you get some more silver bullets. I mean, there's a Sigarda, Host of Herons in there.
Yeah, Terrastodon. Everyone loves Terrastodon.
Yeah, you also get Worm Harvest for some of the grindier matchups that you need to, try and get through.
I want to play this deck. Do you think it's fun? It's Gifts Ungiven deck that's like, but it also plays all the cool ramp,
it's
Fertile
probably
Ground
fun.
and Utopia
it is for
Sprawl.
sure fun. Probably does not mulligan well. I think that you need to have all of your cards. And I think sideboarding is probably hard in this deck.
This deck is sweet though. Congratulations there.
That was all the 6/1 decks from the Modern Challenge.
We'll do a few. Amulet Titan shows up. This Amulet Titan is the all-in Amulet Titan. It is 4 Simeon Spirit Guides, 4 Azusa, and 4 Sarum Visions. It's 100% all in. With you can always tell because they have ley lines in the sideboard, because the all in versions do not deal with hand disruption very well, and some Bonfires of the Dams to just pop people off at the end. A bunch of Eldrazi taxes, some Eldrazi Tron, a bunch of Titan Shift. Yeah, man. It looks like big mana strategies are just doing really well right now.
And Shock Troopa, shout out to him. The mono blue Tron list, always hard to pilot, and he got there with the 5-2 record.
Shock Troopa, I mean, he's the guy.
He's the guy. I mean, he's the one to do it. Pretty good deck list. I think that it's kind of the stock list that everybody's been going to. A lot of the one-ofs, but the one card that I wanted to mention in his deck is now he's running a Nimble Obstructionist. I think this card's great. I think it's going to see its way into some modern decks outside of this. It's a blue and 2 generic. It's a 3/1 body, just like Vendilion Click. It has flash, flying. You can cycle it for 2 generic and a blue, but you can also. It also says when you cycle Nimble Obstructionist, counter target activated or triggered ability you don't control.
Right.
So I mean, it's got
cool.
a little bit of cool stuff to it.
All right, man. I think that's enough for deck lists. We're not going to get into any standard deck lists because we're primarily just like talk about Eternal formats. And but I will ask you this: knowing what you know now, looking at all these things, playing the games that you played this weekend, what would you play at Richmond, SCG Richmond? That's a modern open this weekend if you were playing. And it's not based on the cards you have, just what would you play? What do you think is going to be a hot deck this upcoming weekend? I was wrong. Elves, I was wrong. No one came out with Elves last weekend. I missed that.
We did see a lot of Elves at the shop we were at.
We did. They did pretty well, but it wasn't like a big weekend deck. It didn't have a big weekend.
I think that Eldrazi Tron had such a strong showing this weekend. I wouldn't be surprised to see Affinity have a strong weekend against it at Richmond.
But I see a lot of decks packing even more Stony Silences because it really helps against Eldrazi Tron as well.
It does.
So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe a Death and Tax deck list or something, or maybe, I don't know, man. I don't know what weekend. I don't know how to metagame this weekend.
It's difficult. It's difficult this weekend. Grixis Death Shadow is always out there. It's like the looming monster that you could get paired up against, and it could just have the right hand against you and kill you no matter what deck you're playing.
I think Eldrazi Tron might just have another good weekend.
It could. That could very well be too.
The deck just seems so good right now.
I also wouldn't be surprised to see a traditional Tron list do well this weekend.
Oh, that's cool. That might be a good idea.
You know, because Chalice doesn't affect them as much either. And I think that in the battle of the Tron decks, I think that the traditional Tron deck wins every time.
And maybe Storm keeps popping up.
And Storm.
I mean, there's a lot of Storm there this weekend.
Yeah.
And Burn did not have a great showing this weekend.
No, it did not.
I mean, Burn is great.
I called the combo decks for this weekend, and I was a little bit off on that.
You were right, kind of Storm.
Except for Storm.
I mean, there's a lot of Storm in the top of these tournaments.
There's a lot of Storm, but I missed on the ad nauseum and living in aspect of it. But yeah, it was a good weekend for a combo weekend. Good weekend for Eldrazi Tron.
All right, so we got something to do. All right, so we gave away. We had Gabriel Bibbs won the Chandra last week, but we had an idea. If you followed us during our giveaway and you played the game, anyone who actually sent in their tournament results, DM us, or their tournament Pro Tour predictions the last couple of weeks, DM us. We're going to send out some packs of cards to anybody who actually played the game, or we'll go through, and you got to DM us, though. You got to get on our Twitter and DM us. But if you played the game, and there was a few of you who did, send us a little message, and we will send you some free packs of cards. Because we appreciate the interaction. We really love it when you guys hit us up on Twitter. I think that is pretty much, man. We've been going at this one for a while. I think that's pretty much it for this weekend.
It was a big weekend, big modern weekend.
That was a big weekend. We appreciate you sticking around with us and listening. Again, check out that shop. I'll put up all the notes in the show notes. Check out our Uplay channel, or YouTube channel is Tilted Play. Check out Tilted Pod on SoundCloud, YouTube, or the MTG Cast Network. Follow the MTG Cast Network. There's a lot of great people with great content going up there all the time, and everybody's been really great to us so far. Check out Gaming Universe Facebook page for more information about super sweet tournaments. Follow us at Tilted Pod on Twitter. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do whatever you got to do to get us out there and get yourself out there and get in the action. We want to talk to you. We're going to have more giveaways coming up. Again, DM us if you hit anything up. Hit us up with the Pro Tour predictions, and let's get chatty. Let's get talking.
Let's do it.
All right, man. For Tilted Pod, we out. Peace.